What is up, YouTube? I'm the 13 Scorch, and today we are back with Game of Thrones, a Telltale game, but a little bit special because we're going to be going through the Codex of who we have so far. So this is just a sort of side-off, spin-off episode part thingy, you know, awkward. But this is not going to count for today's upload. This is just something I'm doing in addition because I find it so interesting. All the background information and everything that's put into the game, I love it. I think it's great. But we're going to get into this and just read through the characters we've discovered so far. So we have GREGOR Forrester, Lord of Ironrath. And Lord Forrester was the Lord of Ironrath and a bannerman of House Stark. As a youth, he famously arm-wrestled Gilbert Glover for the privilege of becoming the man's squire. Glover later joked that he'd gladly lose the match all over again. GREGOR married ELISSA BRANFIELD, the daughter of Southern Targaryen loyalists, before Robert Baratheon seized the Iron Throne. GREGOR ascended to the lordship after his father died at the Trident and led House Forrester for 16 years until he was slain at the Twins. All of that backstory for a guy that was in the game for like 2-3 minutes. I mean, it's awesome. For me, it brings a new appreciation to it, you know? So Lady ELISSA Forrester, Lord Forrester's wife, ELISSA Forrester was born to House Branfield, a minor southern house that was destroyed when the Targaryen dynasty fell. She's been married to GREGOR for many years when Robert's rebellion signaled her family's demise, yet she nonetheless felt conflicted between her father's loyalties and her husband's. In time, ELISSA came to feel that Ironrath was her true home, and she embraced her role as the Forrester matriarch. She has silently sworn that she'll never see her family destroyed again. So, having her family destroyed like what happened in episode 1 must be devastating for her. You know, it's a lot of the backstory is just about empathy. You know, putting yourself in their shoes, and it adds to the experience. It adds to what you experience while playing through the game. RODRIK Forrester, firstborn son, Lord Forrester's eldest son, RODRIK, was trained from an early age to shoulder the burdens of leadership. In truth, he was built for the role, strong, charismatic, and formidable on the battlefield. When Robb Stark called his banners to war, Lord Forrester asked RODRIK to stay behind and protect Ironrath, but RODRIK would have none of it. Instead, he rode off at his father's side and led the Forrester cavalry with such valor that his name came to be feared among the ranks of Lannister soldiers. RODRIK fell in battle at the Red Wedding and is presumed dead. Asher Forrester, exiled second son. Dude, he looks badass as hell. Asher had always been a rebellious youth, brawling in taverns, sleeping with whores, and finding ways to raise his father's ire. But his life took a dark turn when, at age 17, he fell in love with Gwyn Whitehill, the eldest daughter of his father's bitter rival. Bloodshed ensued, and Lord Forrester faced a grim choice: go to war or exile Asher across the narrow sea. He chose the latter. Asher remains in Essos to this day, living as a sellsword, trying not to think about the life he left behind. Wow. So it's like a badass Romeo and Juliet, except it didn't end with suicide. MIRA Forrester, eldest daughter. Lady Forrester, wanting her eldest daughter to learn the ways of a southern court, arranged for MIRA to serve as a handmaiden to Margaery Tyrell. To MIRA's great surprise, she enjoyed attending on Margaery at Highgarden and followed her to King's Landing with enthusiasm. Life in the capital has not been easy for MIRA, as her straightforward northern ways are often at odds with the subtleties of court life. But she also has more guile than she realizes. Oh my god, she took the key, she took the stamp thingy. She is just so cunning. But not really. She'll probably get caught. I don't know. We'll find out later on. Ethan Forrester, third-born son. Whereas his older brothers were natural warriors, Ethan always found himself drawn to pursuits of the mind, particularly music and books. He also bore a great love for the towering trees of Ironrath, a love he shared with his twin sister, TALIA. Ethan was just a boy when House Forrester joined the War of the Five Kings, but by the war's end he had been thrust into a role he was unprepared for. Sadly, his lordship did not last long. Ethan was murdered in cold blood by Ramsay Snow, the bastard son of Roose Bolton. TALIA Forrester, second-born daughter. During her fourth pregnancy, Lady Forrester dreamed she would birth a daughter with a voice like the summer rain. But as fate would have it, she gave birth to a boy. The infant Ethan wailed for hours until Lady Forrester entered a second labor, this time birthing a girl. English work for me, come on. She named the girl Talia after her own mother, and from then on Ethan hardly ever cried. Her dream came true, for Talia has a lovely singing voice, though her tunes have all been sad ones since her twin brother's murder. I would expect such. RYON Forrester, fourth-born son. The last of the Forrester children, RYON grew up idolizing his older siblings and spent many an hour chasing Ethan and Talia through the grove. His youth has been pleasant and shielded from responsibility, but recently RYON's innocence has begun to fade. When the war began, RYON was too young to understand why RODRIK and his father were leaving home, but the grim realities of a house at war have been impossible to avoid, and RYON is now being held hostage by House Whitehill. GARED TUTTLE, squire to Lord Forrester. GARED was raised on stories of heroism about the likes of Arthur Dane and Simeon Star Eyes, or Simeon, I think it's Simeon. Though the son of a pig farmer, he has always aspired to one day become a warrior himself. With the help of his uncle Duncan, who had risen from low-born origins to become Castellan of Ironrath, GARED found work in Lord Forrester's stables, rising through the ranks to eventually be named his squire. After the Red Wedding, GARED found his family murdered and took vengeance. He was subsequently sent to the wall. Duncan Tuttle, Castellan of Ironrath. As a boy, Duncan showed such talent for managing his family's farm that everyone assumed he'd one day take over. But Duncan was fated to run more than fields in a pig pen. In time, he struck up an unlikely friendship with Gregor Forrester, the heir to House Forrester. The two grew close, and when Gregor became lord, he named Duncan his Castellan. Many eyebrows were raised, but Duncan proved himself worthy and has served the house well in the long years since. Sir Royland de Gore, Ironrath's Master-at-Arms. Royland de Gore joined Lord Forrester's army after his family was wiped out by Ironborn during Balon Greyjoy's rebellion. De Gore had a natural grasp of military tactics and strategy and came to play a crucial role in the siege of Pike that ended the war. In the months that followed, King Robert awarded Royland a knighthood, and Lord Forrester asked him to serve as Ironrath's Master-at-Arms. Sir Royland still holds the position and is known for his military expertise, as well as his legendary temper. Maester ORTENGRYN, Maester to Ironrath. Originating from a minor house in the Vale, Maester ORTENGRYN studied at the Citadel in the hope of being assigned to the Eyrie, but by the time he'd earned enough links on his chain to graduate from Acolyte, John Arryn had been murdered and the South was in turmoil. The Citadel ultimately assigned Maester ORTENGRYN to Ironrath, where he soon came to respect the Forrester family's honor and integrity. He now serves the Forresters with pride and has become a trusted advisor to the Lord. Malcolm BRANFIELD, Lady Forrester's brother. As a young man, Malcolm was the black sheep of the Branfield family. He liked to roam the countryside in the style of a hedge knight, refusing his father's offers of marriage and lands. Malcolm fought bravely alongside his brothers when House Branfield fell. Yet he and his sister were the only two survivors. In recent years, Malcolm has lived with Lady ELISSA's new family at Ironrath, and is the last of the Branfield line. He is currently across the narrow sea, hoping to bring Asher Forrester home from exile. Ironrath, ancient seat of House Forrester. An imposing stronghold surrounded by towering ironwood trees, Ironrath marks the ancestral home of House Forrester. Built over 1,500 years ago by Cedric Forrester and his triplet sons. Wow, triplets. Ironrath is a testament to the strength and endurance of Ironwood itself. More than one visitor has called Ironrath the most striking keep in the north. Even Ned Stark was said to be envious. Ironrath sits on the edge of the largest ironwood forest in Westeros, which has proven to be a strategic advantage for the house. So going back to those triplet sons, I mean, triplets are bad enough, but triplets from the north. Oh, man. But anyways, that seems to be the end of the Codex so far. So that'll be the end of this spin-off little special thingamabob that I did. And I'm going to get to recording Episode 2, Part 1. I hope you all enjoyed. This is the 13 Scorch, signing off.